Good Monday morning, everybody. I'm getting ready to talk about part of the health aspect of health, wealth, and aging. Once again, my name is Jason, your host with Health, Wealth, and Aging, and something near and dear to my heart, uh, and that's actually affecting me and affects thousands, probably hundreds of thousands of Americans today. And that, my friends, is diabetes. So, those of you that know me probably aren't aware that just Friday I was diagnosed with diabetes. I haven't told very many people, but it's it's pertinent to the podcast. It's pertinent to what I do. And so I'm just going to come on and talk about a few things that you can do to control it. Some of this stuff I'm sure your dietitian or whoever your primary care physician has talked about, and some of these things are ways to treat it that I've read about and found through my own research. So when I say treat, I don't mean treat as in how your doctor would go about lowering your sugar or anything like that. These are minor tips and tricks that will not cure a disease. They will not treat the disease because I'm neither a doctor, a pharmacist, nor a dietitian. What I have found is that, quite honestly, diabetes can be one of, if not the primary cause of hundreds of thousands of deaths in the US. What we see is if untreated or not treated well, not only can the diabetes affect you, sugar spikes or your sugar drops, but it can lead to other causes of what they call comorbidity. So let's face it, if, like myself, you have diabetes, most likely you have one of or more, a number of other risk factors. You may have high blood pressure. You may have high cholesterol. You may have neuropathy. Um, Even worse, if it's in your feet, you may have a large host of other factors. And there's a good chance that, like myself, you may and most likely are a little bit overweight. So, what can we do to help ourselves? Well, obviously, the last one I talked about is something we have a little bit of control over. However, the majority of folks that are getting diagnosed with diabetes already have what's referred to as metabolic syndrome and insulin resistance. Both of those, and they're tied together, make it even harder to go ahead and lose weight. Now, that doesn't mean you shouldn't try. And one of the best things that I'm reading about right now in a book called Metabolical is fiber intake. Yeah, I know. Everybody wants to talk about take your Metamucil, and a lot of folks my age are like, "Wow, that's not something I want to do. That's something for when you're old." Well, quite frankly, it doesn't matter. Fiber, in and of itself, has far more health benefits than what it's given credit for by the majority of folks. Fiber can help lower your cholesterol. fiber can help with insulin resistance as well as spreading out insulin response. It also, something we're finding out is more important, helps your gut bacteria, your gut biome, to produce the right types of bacteria. And we're finding that the bacteria in your intestines can control a whole lot more for bodily functions, not just that one, than what we had previously thought. They are finding that the gut bacteria can actually help with cognitive benefits, can help slow potentially the onset of things like Alzheimer's or dementia. And dementia is actually another big risk factor of those of us with diabetes. So I highly encourage you to do your own research. I know I will be talking about things to help over the next several months and years to come. But don't just rely on my words. Do your own research. I'm some random guy on the internet. Now, I know a few things, but we also know that look how the medical community has changed their minds on what we were always told. Eggs are bad for you. They raise your cholesterol. And now, oh, well, eggs in moderation are actually good for you. Perfect protein. So just because I say something doesn't mean, A, I can't be wrong. Ask my wife. She, of all people, knows I can definitely be wrong. And two, that maybe what we thought was true, more information has come in. Or if it was only partially right. So I highly encourage you to do your own research. But from what I have been reading, you obviously, as a diabetic, need protein. You need fiber. The nice thing about fiber is your body doesn't digest it like it would a fat or a carbohydrate or protein. And so, yeah, it tends to all come out, if you know what I mean. The good news is it binds to certain things along the way. Like I said, it helps lower cholesterol. That's one of the mechanisms of doing so. Is it binds to that bile, and it. I'm not really going to go into the science of how it works because, quite honestly, I only understand a portion of it, and I like science, but yeah. So we need that protein. We need to increase our fiber intake. The average American only generally takes about 5 grams of fiber from their diet a day. They recommend 28 grams per day for women and 32 for men. But I've got good news. And I don't have an affiliate link for this. I just happened to find them recently. Mission brand tortillas have a carb balance tortilla. The burrito size ends up being 28 fiber just by itself. I'm all for that. They taste good. I was surprised. They actually have some protein. I'm gonna make some. I want to say it's about 5 grams. It's 5 or 6 grams of protein for a tortilla. 110 calories. They're great. Like I said, I don't have an affiliate link. I don't have stock in this company. Yeah, I had some stock. No. They just happen to be something I've stumbled across that is handy, and like everything here, sharing it free. Now, something else I've been reading that's beneficial to kind of control the sugar spikes, as it were, is cinnamon. Now, there are some slight issues if you take a lot of cinnamon with what you get normally at, let's say, Walmart or wherever you normally get your spices. What you need to be looking for, if you're using a lot, if you're using just an average amount, or maybe like I do, put just a little bit in your coffee every morning, it's no big deal. But if you're worried about it, so at very high doses, from what I'm reading on places like examine.com, there can be some liver toxicity at very high doses. And we're talking more than a tablespoon a day, if I'm right. Teaspoon a day, not tablespoon. But if you're worried about that, once again, I don't have some kind of sponsorship link or anything like that. Just it's what I'm using. Is this stuff called Ceylon cinnamon? Ceylon is Latin for true. The other stuff, I don't remember what we normally get at the grocery store. It's Cassia, I believe. But it has a slightly different flavor. Very good in things like coffee. Like I said, put a little dab of milk in your coffee, stir it up. I don't use sugar for obvious reasons, right? Sometimes I do cheat, put a little honey in there. Stir it up, tastes really good. So that's another thing. Sugar itself, it's not just the spikes. It's not just, oh, you know what? I had 16 ounces of grape Kool-Aid. I can just take 10 units of Lantus or whatever particular type of insulin you might be on. No. Stay away. We're addicted to sugar by far more than I am to my coffee. As a nation, as a people, we need to learn to moderate and modulate that sugar intake, and we're going to see a lot healthier outcome. I lost my mom to sugar, or to diabetes, complications thereof, not that long ago. Honestly, my grandmother was 96 and had lived with it for decades, but we know that diabetes can lead to heart attacks, and that's what got her at the end. I mean, granted, she was 96. She lived a good long life, and God bless her. She went out the way she wanted to go out, surrounded by family, but she'd always said she was going to live to 100, and I firmly believe without the blood sugar issues, she would have made it. I know a person just down the block, just one town over, who's lost multiple toes. Diabetes is no punk. So anything that you found that can help, please share. I've got some recipes I might share here in the next few weeks that are pretty darn good. I made some kebabs last night, Greek tzatziki sauce. Used one of those mission carbs for a pita and grilled up some onions. Oh gosh, it was. For those of you that are in the Independence area, honestly, I would have put my homemade gyro up against the fellows that come to Neowalla every year. And yeah, I am a little biased, but dang, they were. So, take the time, comment below about what you struggle with as a diabetic, about tricks you've learned, and maybe we can help each other go through this together. My goal personally is I have a doctor's appointment in 6 months. I will be starting metformin. And in that 6 month time period, my goal is to go from the A1C I had, 6.5, down to 5. Now, I know I can probably go even bigger, just on 500 milligram dosage twice a day. I think with diet and metformin, I might be able to get to 5.4. But we'll see. And we're going to, regardless of if I do make that or not, I feel like this is a very big epidemic across the United States. So, like I said, share below what you're doing, how it's helping you, what your struggles are. Because let's face it, we are into sugar. It is hard to avoid it. There's things like fructose corn syrup and all that, and we can go on about that. But I won't. But I want to hear your struggles. We can help each other in our journey. And by the way, if you're seeing my show, it's a spoof on Star Wars. B, I'm in support of a company unfortunately went under during COVID, but that was a big sponsorship of fatherhood, men stepping up as fathers and pillars of the company, which is why I'm wearing it today. Because proud father, and I need to get on top of this diabetes for my son, Cademan. Because of that, that's my motivation. So, what's your motivation? Go ahead and hit that thumbs up button if you appreciate the content. If you think it's mediocre, even, I will get better, I promise. But I look forward to hearing from you. I want to know how I can help you and how we can all become healthier, wealthier, and age